Today on the BBC, we're talking about the very best places to shoot travel photography with our guest, Cheeky Nando.
Grid is brought to you by Tamron. Check out their 28 to 75 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's for Sony full-frame mirrorless. It's awesome. Go to tamron-usa.com.
And ProPhoto, the light shaping company. Check out the ProPhoto B1X. Power in all the right places. Go to prophoto.com/US.
And Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Grid. I'm all alone. It's a lonely Grid day, but I'm not all alone. I'm going to be joined by some great friends who are on location all over the world. Mr. Eric Kuna is over at NASA. He's got a launch, I guess, tonight, or sometime soon. He's got a launch. He's over at NASA at the Cape. Getting set up, and then we've got Dave Williams joining us from Swing in London, and then from Lisbon, Portugal, we have Cheeky Nando. Fernando Santos will be joining us all here today on the show, and today we're going to be talking about our favorite travel locations. So where we would recommend a friend to go like, hey, I want to go someplace really interesting to shoot. Where would I go? We're going to give our favorite picks today on the show. We got some giveaways coming up today, including a Platypod Ultra. It's ultra awesome. It is what I take with me everywhere. It fits in your pocket and lets you put your camera in places you would never be able to set up a tripod. And just used this in Tokyo last week, and it was amazing and awesome and very, very helpful. I was able to shoot at some places I shouldn't have been able to shoot. We're also going to be able to give away a copy of my brand new book, The Landscape Book, which is very exciting. It's out now in print and on Kindle. We're also, I don't have it with me in front of me, but maybe I can get you a graphic. Hold on. Let me see if I can launch whatever software that I use to make things happen, but I can't remember the name of it, so there it is. All right, let's see if this works. And if it does, I've got a screen capture to show you. Can you see my screen? Let's see if it does. Let's see if we can see my screen. Maybe not. Well, while they're waiting for that, we're going to give away another book. And eventually, there it is. All right, we're going to give away a copy of my book, The Flash Book. It's still the #1 best-selling book in photography lighting on Amazon, and they sell a lot of books on Amazon. So anyway, we're going to give away a copy of The Flash Book as well today. So Landscape Book, The Flash Book. Do you like the way I name my books? I really name them very simply. The Flash Book, the Landscape Book, the Digital Photography Book. It's very simple. I'm a simple guy with a simple grid cup. Anyway, it's kind of lonely here on the set. Let's see if we can find Mr. Kuna. There's lots going on. Let's see. Mr. Kuna is over live at the Cape Kennedy Space Center. There he is. I can't hear you, Eric, so it doesn't really matter what you're saying. Oh, there we go.
Hey, Scott.
So, Eric, you're supposed to be right here.
I know.
I got your space for you.
Yeah, I'm only about 150 miles away.
Oh, all right. Is there a rocket anywhere over there?
There is a rocket on the pad behind me, way off in the distance. There's the countdown clock. We have 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 32 seconds until launch.
Hey, the weather doesn't look awesome. Does it look like it's going to go?
It's going to be tight. We're going to see. I mean, we've been pulling for it all day, so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's not looking great, but obviously it's not raining. It's actually the sun's out right now, so it's
all right.
It could. We'll see.
It's kind of nasty over back at the home base here.
It's much nastier over there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nasty. We had such a big thunderstorm that our super dog Maki had to climb into my lap, physically. Big giant dog, just like, I'm getting in your lap. It's scary, and I'm like, it's okay. Anyway, so Eric, there's a lot of news out going on right now, and I just want to, I am going to get some pics from you for travel photography because our topic today is where you're going to shoot for travel. It's like where are your favorite places to shoot. But I saw this. They announced the brand new Sony A7R4 or the A7 IV. I don't know if it's the A7R, but it's their Pro end camera.
Yes.
But look at the promo picture. This is the promo picture I saw everywhere. The world
Genius.
only cares about one thing. This is
Two card
all
slots.
it's
There
like
it is.
Sony introduces a 61 megapixel thing, and this is the photo that I saw all over the web. The slogan should be, forget everything else. It's got 2 card slots. Order now.
That's it. That's
I thought that was particularly. I knew you would appreciate that, but
it is. It is. It's funny. That's exactly what it is. I mean, we were just talking about this on the bus when we were on the way to get set up our cameras, which we had a whole 10 minutes to set up our cameras. That was fun.
Oh my gosh, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This is at the pad. You're setting up at the pad.
At the pad. We got delayed for a long time. We had lightning warnings, all that stuff, and then they go, "We got 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes," and then we're just rushing around trying to get our stuff set up.
Did you get your stuff nailed down?
It's good. We'll see.
Now you nail you have platypods.
Planning.
You nail it in, right? You nail it actually into the ground.
Yeah, I mean it's we'll see.
Well, gosh. Well, Eric,
one of them is not nailed down, but it is driven down with my body weight. So we'll see.
All right, well, I hope it works out. Well, if you were here, you would be happy to see all the people that are here. Everybody's tuning in on the show today. We got Richard. Hey, Richard from the UK. I know Richard. Richard and I had dinner when I was there just recently.
Yeah.
John Swartz from Beantown, Boston guy. Hey, I'm going to be in Boston next month. In fact, I think I'm going to be seeing John next month. Up in Boston. I'm in Boston on August, I think, 29th. Is that right? Let me look. August 20-something. Yeah, August 29th, I'm in Boston with my seminar, and then the 30th in Philly. And I was just in Chicago and Detroit in 2 days, like 630 photographers. That's a lot of people. That was a whole bunch. We had a ball. We had so much fun.
And Scott, we were the other day, we were reading the evaluations on the survey or on the seminar, and people are loving it. People are just ecstatic about the seminar. They're loving it. So,
well, it's so much fun to teach, and it's great to see light bulbs come on. And I've had people come up after the first session and go, "This was worth the whole day." I'm like, "We've got a whole day left." So, hey, I hope some of you will come out there. But there's more Boston. Oh, look who I'm going to go through this real quickly, Eric, just so you know who's here.
Yep.
Brian's here from New York. Tom's here from the San Fernando Valley. Pernille is here from Denmark. Robert says howdy from Texas. Joe's here from just hey. Kim from Colorado. David's from Sweden. Sandy says hi from rural Iowa. Paul's here from Chicago. Lorelei? I think it's Lorelei. It could be Laura Lee. From Eagle River, Alaska. Robert says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, Eric. Craig says hi from Boston. Debu Silka, also of Boston. You are not alone. You have Boston in the house. Rich Hurley's here from Sacramento. Brigitte is here. She says, hi, guys. Welcome back, Scott. We missed you. Hope you had a wonderful trip away. Love the photos. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
And,
your photos from Tokyo were awesome.
Hey, I have a few
them.
here if we can look on my screen. So I did a Adobe Spark page. Let me get up to the top of the page here. So I did a quick Adobe Spark page, and it's right here. And I told a story about the whole thing and about shooting and why I got up early a couple of days. I didn't do much shooting actually because it was a family trip. The kids were with us, and this trip was really for the kids. But one morning, all of these shots were taken in the same place. I woke up one morning and went to a shrine that my kids wouldn't really care about. But all of the photos that you've seen were all basically taken in one morning. And this was another morning I got up and went to, ready? It's a Catholic church in Tokyo. Built in the 60s, but very futuristic. Look at this church, right?
Yeah.
And I did some like black and white architectural outside and stuff. Anyway, you can go see. If you go to my blog on Monday, there's a link to it. All right, Eric, let's talk about travel spots. Now, you've been all over. You travel quite a bit. If you were going to tell a friend, okay, summers, we still have some time here. It's only July. And I know August in Europe is a big travel time. Where would you tell them to go get some great travel photos?
Well, it's interesting. If you're going for travel for a city or you're going to travel for a landscape, because I kind of do both of those things. So for landscapes, I'll say I don't think much can beat Iceland. I really don't. I mean, I just loved Iceland. I loved the variety. I think shooting in Iceland and traveling in Iceland, how the topography would change. How when I was shooting something, then I'd be shooting something totally different just 3-4 hours later. So I love Iceland for that. For city, I love Paris. I love what you can get in Paris. I also love Venice. I mean, it's all those classic cities. But in America, one that we went last year and shot a class there, which I think it's cliche, but I'm telling you, it's a great city to shoot in, is New York City.
I totally agree. In fact, I think as much as I love European travel and I love European cities, and I would agree with you, like I think my other choice would be Paris. And let me tell you why Paris rather than other cities, but New York and Paris I'm going to put on the same level, I guess.
Yep, me too.
Because you can shoot it all in New York and Paris. Like, for example, in Paris, you can shoot opera houses. You can shoot amazing cathedrals. You can shoot beautiful gardens. You can shoot charming romantic places. You can shoot very modern architecture. I don't think a lot of people realize how much modern architecture stuff that you can actually shoot in Paris. Paris has a whole part of the city, an area of the city called La Défense, that is like Manhattan in Paris. And it is amazing. And what's cool about it is when you're in Paris, you don't really see very much of it. Like you don't have these looming buildings everywhere. Everything's flat, and then there's the Eiffel Tower. But you look off in the distance, you're like, what's that way over there? It's La Défense. It's all these very, very tall buildings. And so if you want modern architecture, if you want old architecture, if you want Parisian architecture, if you want Roman-like architecture, everything is in Paris. But I also think New York City is somewhat the same way. There are classic old cathedrals in New York City that are crazy. You and I have been to some, Eric.
There's that one up on the Upper East Side. I forget what it's called.
Oh my gosh!
But it's like a hidden gem.
It is. It
looks like a hidden gem.
It looks like someone took a Paris cathedral and dropped it in New York City. So I would agree with you. New York, Paris, also Iceland. And you said something about Iceland, Eric, that I really think rings true, and that is that there's the topography changes, not the typography, the topography changes.
Yep.
Like you've got icebergs, then you've got what looks like the American Southwest.
Yeah.
Then you've got like very like almost
volcanic
like rainforest.
Black.
You've got volcanic black. You've just got so many, and it's also accessible. Hey, I'm going to be in Iceland for a day or two in about a couple of weeks, so I'm actually in and out of a couple of places, but one of them is Iceland, and I'm going to be just there quickly, and I'm flying home from Iceland. But
and sometimes you can shoot puffins too.
You can shoot wildlife. You can shoot puffins. You can shoot a wrecked plane. But I think Iceland and New York and Paris, what's nice is they are fairly condensed. Like it's easy to get around Iceland. It's easy to get around New York. You picked three really, really good ones.
I mean, that's my top of my list. I mean, like you said, we've traveled around. I know we've talked about this. There's other places that are really cool, but and I think a lot of people are especially photographers are resistant to go those places because other photographers go to those places or other people go to those places. But I wouldn't as a photographer not go there. That's a big thing. A lot of photographers get into that where they're like, it's just coming up a lot.
But Eric, everybody's going everywhere anymore. Right now travel is so inexpensive. The dollar's strong, so Americans are traveling everywhere. The Europeans are traveling. And the Chinese are everywhere. Everyone's everywhere. It's you're not going to go anywhere where there's no one. There's just everybody's everywhere right now. Speaking of everywhere, we have Dave Williams standing by, so we're gonna talk to Dave in just a second. But thanks, Eric. I know you're really busy over there, and you're getting ready to head out on a bus.
I could show you here. Let me show you. I just had the bus pull up. Let me see if I can flip this around. Can I flip this around? Yeah, there it is. So there's the buses. Oh my
gosh, you're right there at the vehicle assembly building.
And there's the vehicle assembly building. There's the buses that just showed up, and I'll be shooting from the top of that later.
Oh my gosh, isn't that the biggest building per square foot in the world, or at least it was? and you're going to be on top of it. That's got to be scary.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I'm not the height person, so. And there's my little shady spot back here that I found. So,
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time, Eric. We miss you here on the set, and everybody says hi, except for Christina, who says, I hate Eric. And anyway, her words, not mine. Anyway, thanks, Eric. And when we come back, we're going to be tossing over to Mr. Dave Williams, who's on location in London. We're going to get Dave's picks for travel. Stick around. We'll be right back.
I'm Dave Williams, and I'm a travel photographer from the UK. I'm going to use all of my information that I've learned in my years doing this, and I'm going to teach you about how to plan properly for travel photography so that we maximize on the time we have and so that we know what we're going to do with our time when we get there. I've made some mistakes, and I've learned most importantly that nothing beats good, proper planning. I'm going to teach you what gear we need to take, why we need to take it. We're going to identify gaps in the market and figure out what's on trend so that we know what we're going to shoot when we get there, how we're going to shoot it, and what angle we're going to go from so that our photos stand out from the crowd. And I'm also going to teach you what makes a photo special and how we can achieve that. So if you want to learn all this and you want to learn some inside tips from me, from my experience in planning for travel photography, join me in my brand new class on kelby1.com.
When you need a tripod that is compact, that is portable enough to take with you anywhere, one that is adaptable to any situation, that will prove versatile enough for any shoot, and is compatible with your other gear, giving you freedom to create your own perspective. Look no further. Platypod Ultra does it all. Visit platypod.com for more info.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hello, everyone. It's me. How the devil are you? Hey, we're back. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. So, you know, it was in Tokyo last week, and I did some. I mentioned I did some fine art, black and white. I'm gonna have you look at my screen real quick before we bring Dave on, and I just want to show you a couple of pictures, and I'll tell you why here. So these are some of the black and white fine art stuff that I did while I was there. I got lots of comments about it on my Spark page. Including from some other photographers that I know in the industry that were like, hey, man, I'm really digging this black and white fine art stuff you're doing. Well, just yesterday, I actually taped a class on how to do the entire process from the shooting to the post-processing. And I've got a way to do the post-processing. I'm not kidding. 2 minutes and 30 seconds from start to finish. And anyway, so that's my brand new Kelby 1 class. It's coming out. When's it coming out, Christina? Sometime? While she's looking that up, let's jump over. She'll let me know here in a second. Let's get Dave Williams. Here's Dave. Hey, Dave. Let's see if I can hear Dave. Not yet. I can just see Dave's face, but, you know, he's got a very handsome face, so it really doesn't matter.
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Dave.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're in your car?
Hey. Yeah, so I've been doing a top secret project, but you guys will find out about it soon. But I've got a little bit of time to say hi and join you guys on the grid. So how you doing?
Well, hi, top secret project guy. So
don't tell anyone.
All right, so no, it's your secret safe with us. So Dave, of course, as you know today, and this is why you're on the show, because you are Travel Tuesdays with Dave guy.
That's me. That's this guy.
So this guy writes on my blog every Tuesday. He writes a column called Travel Tuesdays with Dave. And Dave must have some source of funding that we don't know about, because Dave flies all over the world every day or so. He must have a job that gives him a lot of freedom and flexibility and pays insane amounts of money. Because I look on my Instagram and one day like, oh, look, Dave's in Argentina. Oh, look, now Dave's in Norway. Whoops, he's back to Iceland.
Well, there's a thing actually about that. That trailer you guys just saw about how to prepare for your travel photography adventure, that was one of 2 classes, and the second one is coming out soon. It's about how to make money from your travel photography. So that will tell you the secrets to the funding.
Well, I got to tell you,
Anyway.
though, Dave, you do some very clever stuff. When I've hung out with you and you show me
Thank you.
some of the things that you do to make money in travel photography, I'm like, this guy's really thinking outside the box. You're really good at that. And
thank you.
But it's I always say, if you ever make enough money to pay for your gear, I think that's an amazing thing. If you make enough money to pay for your gear and to pay for your travel, you're in the right business. You're doing great. So
Winning.
Hashtag winning. All right, so Dave.
Hey, look, that's Espen.
That's Aspen?
Espen. So I was in Norway last week, and that's Espen. Me and him turned up at the same place.
Oh, okay.
The only two people to shoot this place at sunset. So that's Espen. He's from the Lofoten Islands. But anyway.
Oh, really? I love those.
If you guys go to scottkelby.com, back to Tuesday, you'll find out all about who Espen is.
All right. Well, that's fascinating.
There we go.
But it is cool when you run into other photographers and you're out there shooting.
Yeah,
photography is really a very social thing. I think if you
Absolutely.
if you take the time to make friends as you go, it really can be a very enriching and really make your experience that much better. I've made so many friends like you. Right,
Exactly.
I met you
met.
in London years ago, but we originally met off of like Facebook or Twitter or some social media.
Yeah, I'm sure I sent you a message somewhere somehow.
You did,
and we ended up. Yeah.
Yeah. The next thing you know, we're at a pub.
I can't remember.
Anyway,
exactly.
So Dave, today, of course, we're talking about your favorite travel locations. Now, I don't know if were able to catch Eric's segment.
He stole Iceland.
I know he did steal Iceland. I know that's your favorite place. You know, I'll be in Iceland in like a week, right? I'm going to be there. Yeah, I'm going to be there for just like a day and a half.
A stopover.
I'm coming off a cruise and I'm ending in Iceland and I'm extending the stay a day or so. My brother will be with me. We're gonna shoot some stuff.
Well, this time of year in Iceland, you're going to have a very, very long day. The sun only just dips below the horizon, so there's no real nighttime. You just get a really, really long golden hour and blue hour.
That was the way it was in
from
Lofoten, or however you
3.
pronounce it. Yeah,
Brilliant.
that's what I loved in Norway. You didn't have a half an hour or 45 minutes. You had like 4 hours.
Hours, yeah.
Hours.
So that's what happens in Arctic summer. Beautiful.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that Eric stole Iceland, but if you had to recommend to a friend, okay, it's summertime and you want to go someplace great to take pictures, where would you recommend?
I've just been there, Norway. Norway was put on this planet for photographers. It's amazing. You can't look anywhere and point your camera without taking a good picture. It's just incredible. So and literally the entire country, from the south where you've got these awesome, majestic fjords that sort of just take over the landscape. There's not many roads. It's just pure nature, all the way up to the top where you've got the Lofoten Islands and Finnmark, and you've got the border with Finland and Sweden. You've got such beautiful scenery, rocks, pure nature, just the power of it. It's an incredible place. You can't take a bad picture. It's
now,
cool.
What about the cities? Because I didn't get to Bergen. Have you been to Bergen?
I didn't. No, I flew into Bergen. I've flown into Bergen twice, and I haven't checked out the city. But I've seen some people that have been there. Beautiful wooden buildings. Again, lots of water. The mountains are right there, pretty much in the city. But then Oslo, it's like contemporary, and there's a very much more modern edge to it. Like, it's got a Starbucks for a start. But there's so many cool museums and galleries, and the architecture's phenomenal. Like the Oslo Opera House, I think it's the Opera House, sits on the water's edge, and it's this beautiful wide building with sweeping angles and the like amazing geometry, and this pier that juts out into the water, and then round the corner from that you've got the harbour. Oslo's a really cool place. And then you can go back to the older architecture around the university part of the town as well. And they have great burgers at this place called Max Burger, if you're hungry.
I'm sold. All right. Where can we see some of your Norway stuff? Is it on your Instagram?
There's going to be some on my Instagram soon. There's a couple up there. The story recapping it sits on my Instagram, and I'm yet to write a blog post. I need to write a blog post about it, but I'll share all those pictures as soon as I can.
Now,
I'm very busy right now. Very busy. I've got some news for you in a minute.
All right. I saw in the trailer for your show, for your class, not for your show. I saw in the trailer for your class a beautiful shot of, and I always pronounce it Lofoten, but it's probably not pronounced that way. How is it pronounced?
I think it's Lofoten.
Lofton?
Or Lofoten.
Lofton?
I think the T's a bit soft. Lofoten? Something like that.
Okay. So I saw a beautiful picture from that bridge
Yeah.
And what I loved
So-
about it was you shot it at like sunset or sometime in the, after.
Yeah, later, very late afternoon.
That's a beautiful shot.
If you want to go there, that's a very classic shot. So that area, that part of the Lofoten Islands is right at the end, at the western tip. It takes quite a long time to get there, but the area is like a couple of towns, and that area is called Rhine, R-E-I-N-E.
Mm-hmm.
That particular town in front of the mountain with the iconic view from the bridge is called Hamnøy, and the O has a line through it, which makes the sound. So Hamnøy Bridge, that you can literally park and walk up the bridge and get that shot.
That's exactly what I did.
The conditions and the lighting and everything about it just right, then it's a beautiful place to be. And it's the kind of place, and this isn't very common, it's the kind of place where I wanted to just like ignore my camera and just be there and just look at it and enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I so know what you mean.
Forget the camera, just enjoy the moment.
I'm trying to see if I've got a picture of me. It's going to take me a second here. Give me a second, because I saw it this week too. Doggone it. I had a picture of me.
I know somewhere where you can find a picture of me taking that shot, and that's on the Platypod blog, because you can strap your platypod right on the railing there. But anyway.
That's what I did. Well, you know what I did? I didn't do that. I did something different. Let me just look and see if I have it. Give me 1 second, because there's an interesting shot, and I think there's a learning moment in there somewhere.
Right.
Oh, wait, I think I have it here. 1 second. Don't move, don't breathe, don't make a sound, because I think I found it. Because I found a folder that sounds like it might be it, and I'm hoping that I have the picture in here. Do I?
Is it labeled Norway?
No, that's the problem. It's not labeled Norway. All of these are labeled Norway, but the shot that I'm looking for whatever reason, is just stinking rats. Well, what it is, I'll just tell you. So I'm using a Platypod Ultra, and I'm on the bridge right where you took that photo. Well, I'm very concerned about putting my Platypod on that bridge while trucks are going over and seeing my whole rig fly off into the water below. So what I did was I took my camera strap. So my camera strap is a Black Rapid strap, and I screwed it onto the edge of the Platypod. So if my Platypod fell off, it could only fall 6 inches.
Dude, that is exactly what I did as well.
Is it? See?
And
Great
there's
minds
no
think
reason
alike.
to do it. There is absolutely no reason to do it. The Platypod's got everything there safe and sound, but there's something in my mind.
Oh yeah, it wasn't going to fall off, but
I don't like this.
But you always hear those stories, it's like everyone, and then a truck came by and the thing vibrated and it fell off into the ocean. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. And so I did. I screwed it down to the bottom of it, and the picture I was going to show you was literally it sitting there. Oh, I know where it is. This is going to be so anticlimactic when it happens. All right, give me another one instead of Norway while I'm looking. What else? What would be your second choice?
I can divert your attention from the bridge just down the road, because those beautiful red buildings at Hamnøy, you cross the bridge and you're on another island called Sakrisøy.
Yep.
And the buildings are pretty much the same style, but they change color and they're orange. And then you go over to the next island, Rheiniloften, and then in there the buildings are the same style, but they're white. So you've got contrasting colors of the same style with the mountains, but you've got red buildings, then orange buildings, then white buildings. So where everyone takes their shot at Hamnøy with the classic red building, you can go just over that bridge and you can get different shots of a different color and be different from everybody else.
And I did that. I did that same thing. I'm like down with you on that. Hang on a second. I found the photo. Hang on 1 second, and you're going to go. I'm getting it to open in Photoshop here. Here we go. Got the photo. Boom. So there it is.
There it is.
I am on the bridge. There's those. And we ate dinner, by the way, in that little town. There was like 2 restaurants. And hey, there's a question coming in, Dave, and it's a good one. Nina asks, I understand that Iceland and Norway are both very expensive. Any less expensive places you'd recommend?
How strange is that? I don't have a beat to the chat, and I was just about to say, when you mentioned dinner, Norway's going to cost you a lot of money for dinner.
I didn't think that Iceland was that expensive.
Iceland's pretty expensive. Norway is very expensive, and Switzerland is also up there as being very expensive.
But I felt Iceland was like New York. Norway's a whole nother thing. Like what you're talking about. We had lunch.
For one day in Norway, you need to budget for about 3 anywhere else in the world.
Oh yeah, we had lunch one day, and like my daughter had a kids meal, my wife and I had a meal. We had no liquor, and it was like $124 for lunch, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa! But I didn't have that in Iceland. Iceland, it wasn't cheap. It was like New York City or maybe London.
Yeah.
London's not cheap really to eat either. I don't have to tell you that, but unless you go to where do we just eat there? Burger something?
In where?
We just had
Max Burger.
Oh no, we just ate in London. You and I at a burger place
Oh, Byron.
a couple weeks ago.
Oh no, we did had Byron last time. This time we had
Human Burger. Was it Human Burger?
Yeah, no, what was it? Oh,
I think it was
no,
Human.
It's not.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
We had good burger.
All right. Well, but I would agree to answer Nina's question. Norway, crazy expensive. Iceland,
Switzerland's up
New
there.
York.
Anywhere else.
But she's asking for someplace else. If you can't go to, if those are expensive, where's a bargain? Lisbon.
Lisbon, yeah. Spain, Italy's a bit cheaper. Anywhere Eastern Europe is pretty cheap.
Yeah, but Lisbon's like cheap on a
Balkans,
crazy level. Honest Burger. That's where we went. Honest Burger. It just showed up. Honest Burger, not Human Burger. That sounds terrible. Human Burger. That was awful. Anyway, Dave, hey, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for dropping in.
I'm going to crack on. Can I drop a very quick announcement before I go?
Yes, please do.
Thank you. And Kelby One is on board with this. So, guys, last year I did a sunrise challenge where I raced the sun across the UK. I hope you remember it. There was a contest involved. Mm-hmm. This year, although I won't be racing the sun, I'll be launching elsewhere. The Sunrise Challenge is back. It's going to launch next Tuesday for 2 weeks, and there's a contest. There are some awesome prizes up for grabs. A Kelby One Pro membership, a Lytra Pro, a Drobo 5N2, a Platypod, a Platypod Ultra, and a Black Rapid Sport Breed strap. They're the prize bundle. As it stands, there might be more. So if you guys want to get involved with the Sunrise Challenge, keep an eye on my social media and Kelby One's, and you'll see all about it, and you could win.
All right. And how do you win? Is it the best picture during the Sunrise Challenge?
Yeah. So you need to shoot a sunrise picture over the 2 weeks that the Sunrise Challenge is open. It will close, and every entry will be judged by Mr. Peter Treadway, and then the winner. And the winner will be announced and get the entire prize bundle. It's worth over $1,000. What? Amazing.
What? All right. Well, Dave, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your travel picks, and we'll catch you next time.
Welcome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, Dave. Take care, buddy. All right. When we come back, we have all the way from fabulous Portugal, Cheeky Nando is going to be joining us with his picks, and we got a whole lot more coming up. Don't go away. We're live on the grid. We'll be right back.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
Hello, everyone. We are back. Very excited to have you guys here, and we have a special guest coming all the way from Portugal, Lisbon, Portugal. You know him, you love him. It's Cheeky Nando. Hey, Fernando.
Hi there, Scott.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Scott. I'm good, and you?
Hey, your picture quality looks really good. Did you set up lighting and stuff?
Yeah, I did. I learned from Kelby 1.
It looks, man, it looks really good, Nando. I'm telling you, it's like you're right here. So now you happen to live in a city that would be one of my picks for travel. You happen to live in Lisbon, which is, number one, I think, an incredible bargain. I think that Nina was asking earlier, and she was saying, I need an inexpensive city to go to.
I was here wishing to be able to speak something about it, because you guys were saying Iceland and New York and Norway, and come on, Lisbon, that's the way to go. But I guess I'm a little biased on that. So.
Well, you're a wonderful ambassador for your country. You're so passionate about it. But I was fortunate enough to get to go hang out with Nando in Lisbon. In fact, that's why I went to Lisbon, because you're there. If you hadn't been there, I never would have gone. But I went, and it was funny because a year before I was talking to another photographer who I've known for many years, and he had just come back, and he said it's one of my favorite places ever. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, you got to go. And so I went and hung out the whole time with Nando and a bunch of friends. There was a bunch of us. There was like 11 of us. And I did a photo walk there as part of my worldwide photo walk. And it was so much fun, and, getting to know Nando and just hanging out and shooting.
Well, Lisbon is fun even when Scott is not around. So for everyone listening, it's fun when Scott's here, but it's also almost as much fun when he's not. So
Lisbon's
that would be one of my picks.
Oh yeah, it's one of those places that it kind of has it all. It's got the water, because it's right on the water. It's got beautiful old castles, and this is an interesting thing. I don't think I didn't know it, but Gustav Eiffel, who designed the Eiffel Tower, designed an elevator that is right there in Lisbon, and it looks like an elevator version of the Eiffel Tower, and it's right there. But there's so many things, and the food in Lisbon is tremendous. The food's great. The wine, and there's great places to eat. And one of my favorite places to eat in Lisbon is called Time Out Lisbon. And Cheeky Nando. Time Out Market, and every time he goes, he sends me a picture from there, and I'm so jealous because it's like a gourmet food court, and it's really, really neat. But it's just such a nice town. The people are friendly, except for Nando, but everybody else is friendly and all. But I'm interested to your other picks. We know Lisbon is, I think. And also, Lisbon's starting to become very popular with photographers, too. There's a lot to shoot there. And there's a lot to shoot, not just in Lisbon, but right nearby in Sintra. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, exactly. You are pronouncing right. That was when I was mentioning Lisbon as a pick, and everybody's heard about Lisbon right now. We're getting a lot of tourist awards for Lisbon in Portugal. But there's this location that's not really a secret. But Sintra, which is like half an hour driving from Lisbon, it's gorgeous. It's really a place that you must visit. So yeah,
I absolutely. So we just got a question here, and I would like your opinion on this if you don't mind. So John's asking, how do you feel about photo tours of a city or a country, and would you recommend them? So a photo tour is different than a photo workshop. A photo tour is they just going to tell you, shoot here, shoot there. They kind of know some local places. Have you ever done one of those paid those tours?
Not a paid one. But my view on that, I would say, just changed recently. I was lucky enough to be here in Portugal, not just Lisbon, but several places across Portugal with Joe McNally. I was part of the staff for 2 workshops that Joe McNally did here in Portugal. And Joe really changed my view on that. I used to do what I would call postcard pictures, And now I see Joe's point on it always looks better with someone in there. And so I would say a photo tour would be nice to get to know the spot, so that most people would like to collect the what we would call the hero shots for a certain city or a certain country. But on top of that, you need to be well beyond just all the locations that you see on Instagram. So if you want to have a different photography, maybe you need to be by yourself and just wait and do it like Jay Maisel style. Just wait for the picture to come to you, and that takes time, and it's not something that you can do on a photo walk.
Yeah.
I think.
I would think on a photo tour might be okay if you don't have the time to do research. But honestly, today, there's so much research you can do before you come to a city. That's what I just did in Tokyo. In fact, a lot of Dave's new class that we played the trailer for earlier is about how to research a city before you get there and know where to shoot. Now, I will say this. When I came to Lisbon, you were a great photo guide. You knew places I wouldn't have known about Sintra if it wasn't for you. So I think there may be some value, but I guess it comes down to is it a good photo guide? Right?
Yeah, having someone local is important, because sometimes you see things on the internet that are not exactly correct. I've seen shots from one of the two bridges in Lisbon that's saying it's a photo taken at sunset, and it's not really possible to do that shot at sunset. It must be a sunrise shot. So sometimes you cannot trust everything that's on the internet, as everybody knows.
You know what, though? I would say this. If you're looking at a photo guide to answer the question, look at the photos that the photo guide has on their website. Because a lot of times when I've done research and I see a photo guide and I look at their images and I'm like, these images don't look very good. And what I mean by that is maybe they're going to places in horrible light and they're shooting things in horrible light, which means I'm not sure that this is a really good photographer. This is just somebody that's kind of local, and they're like, well, yeah, I guess I could do photo tours. You know, if you get a photo tour, if you don't see beautiful photos, you're not going to get beautiful photos. I think that
I agree with you.
You got to judge the guide. Is the guide now? If you see a guide, like I remember when I was looking to go to Iceland, and I saw Einar, who is the kind of the king of Iceland. You look at his photos; they're ridiculously good, and you're like, that's the kind of guy I want to hang with. Same thing with you. You're a great photographer, Nando. And when you look at your photos, I look and go, oh yeah, that's a guy I want to hang with. He knows where. It's not just he knows where the good stuff is, but when you're a really good photographer, you understand what locations make for a good, and if you wanted to be in the photo tour business, you would wipe it up in Lisbon because you really understand photography at the level that people would want you to. So,
you're always kind. Thank you.
But it's true, man. If anybody looks at your photos, I mean, I think we critiqued your photos on the grid once, and we didn't know they were yours, and we're like, oh, this guy's great. This guy's a king. And then later we find out, oh, it was Nando. Well, yeah. But anyway, so outside of Lisbon, all right, and Sintra, where are we going? Where else would you go that you really love?
Let's say outside of Portugal, one of the cities that surprised me the most was probably Rome. Before going there for the first time, I was not expecting much. I knew what I was probably going to see, but when I was there, it was like, wow, I was really amazed with Rome. So that's probably one of my
totally agree.
Picks.
Nando, I was exactly the same way. I virtually had no interest in going to Rome. I really didn't. I mean, I've been to Italy a dozen times, and I had no interest in going to Rome. And finally, I had some friends, and they were like, we should go to Rome. And I'm like, I thought, well, we'll go. And Rome was awesome. And I went back and did a workshop in Rome. It is a photographer's paradise.
It is. Yeah.
Totally agree. Not too expensive. Not too expensive. My hotel wasn't expensive. The meals weren't too bad. It was, price-wise, it was pretty good. It's crowded.
Well, then, it is. Well, I guess all the cities in Europe are getting very crowded. Yeah. Lisbon is very crowded to what compared to what it used to be just a few years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago. Now you see Airbnbs all over the place and hotels and tourists during the whole year. So it's getting crowded, but that's the way it is. I mean, travel is getting inexpensive with low-cost airlines and Airbnbs and things. So and Instagram and social media are pushing people into traveling more and more. So,
hey, this is some of Fernando's photos here you're seeing on screen. Gorgeous stuff. Really, really nice. Ooh, very nice. Well done, Nando.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a little weird. Oh, that's pretty. Anyway, all right. So Rome, I think that's a top pick. That's a good one. And Rome's relatively inexpensive to go to. It's not hard to get to. Like when Dave Williams was talking earlier about the Lofton Islands, it's hard to get there.
There's no hard place for Dave. I mean, the guy's all over the place. Like every other day,
I know.
Come on, Dave.
I know, it's crazy. But getting to some of the places that he goes to is not easy. Rome, every airline, everybody flies to Rome. All right, where else would you pick? Besides Rome, where's your next pick?
Well, you guys mentioned Paris. That would be another one of my picks. So we've mentioned Paris too much already. There's another place that I think it's very interesting also, which is Morocco. I had a chance to spend a few days there and to drive and go into the desert and things. And it's really amazing. So it might be not as easy, the logistics for that. So you might want to go in a group or something. But it's really, really nice too. And you've been there. Remember when you were in Lisbon, you spent there a few days. And it's a gorgeous. The different cultures and the different looks of everything. It's amazing.
Hey, and then I did hire a photo guide in Morocco. I'd never been there, and I did hire a photo guide, and he was a driver and a car and an interpreter, and they took us everywhere. Honestly, that was worth the investment. But it was a group of us. We split the money because there was a group of us. But yeah, that was there's Morocco right there. And by the way, Morocco, direct flights from Lisbon every hour. Like you can get from Lisbon, if you go to Lisbon and you want to add Morocco, it is literally like an hour and 10-minute flight, easy flight, Air Morocco, right from Lisbon to Morocco. Now, we went to Marrakesh, but there's other great cities. There's a Fez and the Blue City. There's a lot of places, and the Sahara Desert, of course, all in Morocco. Another great choice. Okay, what else you got there?
Well, one other country that surprised me is Austria. We were there for your photo walk last year, and I wasn't expecting much. It was not as much as Rome, but we were driving on the countryside, and it was beautiful all over the place. It's a beautiful country. I was really impressed with Austria.
Yeah,
so that's something that I would recommend.
I agree. Austria doesn't get the love it should from photographers, but Austria is wonderful. I did my photo walk in Innsbruck, which is very nice, but have it to do over again, and nothing against Innsbruck. Innsbruck's very nice, but there are some places like Hallstatt in Austria that's just absolutely beautiful, and you're very close to Slovenia. I mean, there's a lot of from that area. There's so much. You're close to Neuschwanstein over in Germany. That's not pronounced right, but it's as best as I can do as an American.
It's good enough.
Hey, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with some prizes and stuff, but we have some questions. Can you stick around till after the break, Nando? All right, stick around. Sure. We'll be back in just a second here on the grid. We've got some prizes. We've got coming up next prizes and questions and other stuff as we wrap up today on the grid. Don't go away. We've got Nando on the line.
If you're using Lightroom and you're not using metadata, if you haven't mastered using the metadata panels, you have to watch this class, because otherwise you're missing out. Well, it's helped me because people have found my images, and because of the metadata that's embedded in it, I've actually been contacted and paid for work because they found the image and they wanted more of them. Everyone looking at your photos, they're wondering where you took your photos. There's an entire module of Lightroom dedicated to this. I'm going to show you how to geotag your photos. When you go to search your own images in the cloud or in Lightroom on the desktop, It will find them based on the Adobe Sensei artificial intelligence technology. You'll learn more about that so that you can spend time doing other things that are more beneficial. Come join me along the journey of metadata in my latest class on Kelby One. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't.
Hi everyone, Christy from Shark Pixel here, and I'm really thrilled to be talking to you about a completely new subject in this next class. It's all about Perfectly Clear Complete. It's kind of like a smart image processing program that applies presets to your photos. You can then take that preset and apply it to hundreds or thousands of images, all by batch processing through Perfectly Clear software. It does all the face detection points for you. You do not have to go in and put any specific points anywhere on the image. So when I say you can literally click one button and apply almost 15 beautifying corrections to a face in your image, I am not lying. So you guys definitely need to check out my new class so that you can see how it's done exactly, only on kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here, and we've got Cheeky Nando on the line from Lisbon, Portugal. Hey, what time is it over there in Lisbon there, Nando? Is it like 9 o'clock at night or something?
Yeah, almost 10.
Oh, almost 10. You're up late. Well, we won't keep you too much longer. We got some
No,
questions.
it's okay.
We have some questions coming in, and we've got our giveaways. The way you enter our giveaways is to make a comment. If you make a comment, you're automatically entered to win one of our prizes, and we're giving away 3 prizes: a Platypod Ultra. You have a Platypod, don't you, Nando?
I guess so. Is
You just happen to have it handy. Wow. Yeah, everybody's got a Platypod. I was in my workshop in Paris, and I brought an extra Platypod in case one of my students didn't have one. Everybody had one. I never even took my extra one out. I had 12 people in my workshop, 12 Platypods. But we're going to give away a Platypod Ultra, which is what you just saw Nando holding there, and my landscape book, and also my flash book. So we're going to pick some winners here in just a second. We've got some questions, and let me ask you, Pernille is asking this question. The question is, I always have my camera gear in my carry-on, which is a good idea. But is it okay to pack a tripod in the baggage, or is that a bad idea? Have you had any problems? I pack my tripod in my baggage very often. If I can, I put it in there rather than trying to. You can strap it to like my camera bag. There's a way to strap it. It's just a little bit more of a pain in the butt because once you get it up in the overhead bin, depending on the space, you said now it's take off your tripod and all that. But I've never had any trouble with anybody asking, but it's just more of a pain, so I shove it in my suitcase. Any troubles, Fernando, with packing a tripod in your checked baggage?
Well, I usually don't bring my big tripod with me when I'm traveling on an airplane. I usually bring a smaller one that fits inside my camera bag that I take with me.
It fits inside your bag?
Yes. You
know, I got some really small ones.
It is. You'll see that when we met for Photoshop World. I'll show it to you.
Oh, that's right. You're coming, aren't you? You're coming to all the way to Vegas.
Yes,
all right.
Of course. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Wouldn't be Photoshop World without Nando.
Exactly. Guess what I have for you? Can you see that?
Oh, it's a cheeky Nando button. You know what? I think we have that on the set here somewhere. I think that button.
Not this one. This is the Vegas edition.
Oh, is this the new one? Oh, look what happens in Vegas. Cheeky Nando. Well, there you go. All right. Well, that'll be cool. Hey, by the way, speaking of Vegas, we're about a month away, right? We're about a month away from Photoshop World Vegas. If you guys who are watching would like to meet Cheeky Nando in person, he's going to be in Vegas with us. So come on down. Go to PhotoshopWorld.com. Plenty of time to come. There's still some hotel rooms left because there's like 3,000 rooms at the Mirage, which is our new home in Vegas. So we're not at the Mandalay Bay. We're at the Mirage, which is, I think, going to be the best location ever for a Photoshop World. We're very excited about it. So go to PhotoshopWorld.com and come and check it out. Nando will be there. All right. So to answer Pernille's question, we were talking about. I don't think it's I've thrown it in my baggage numerous times. It's never been a problem, and it's never raised any, anyone's awareness or anything about it. But I do like Cheeky Nando's idea.
Yeah, the only thing I would be a little worried about is putting a $1,000 tripod inside my luggage and then later finding out that it's not there.
But who's going to steal a tripod?
Oh, come on. There's people that steal like socks. So who knows?
Well, okay. But I tell you, I would just say this. I don't think most people that are not photographers would realize, hey, this thing's worth something. Because you look at a tripod and you think, oh, what's it, $100, $200? But you're right. If you have an expensive tribal, like if you get a Gitso travel tripod, you throw a really right stuff ball head on it, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Now you go to a pawn shop, they're going to get $50 for it. It's not going to, But all right. Also, Charles is asking about Asian locations. Have you been to any Asian locations shooting, Nando?
Well, I've been to Asia many years ago. I was lucky enough that my parents took me when I was like 18 to Japan, Thailand, and Hong Kong.
Ooh.
So I was just starting to shoot at the time. I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. I wish I could go back now and shoot. I was seeing your amazing photographs on your Spark page, and I was like, oh, I need to go again. So it's been too many years, and I really need to go. I've been in the Maldives a while, but it was not much about photography. It was just to lay in the sun and enjoying. So
if I went to the Maldives, that's what I'd be doing. I don't know if I'd take a camera. That's sit in one of those huts and relax. What was I going to tell you? So they asked about New Zealand. I think New Zealand is one of the most photogenic countries in the world. New Zealand is so worth the trip. It's right next to Australia, so a lot of people will go to Australia, like to Sydney or something, or Perth, and then they'll jump over to New Zealand. New Zealand is small, so you can cover it well, and it's where Trey Ratcliffe lives, so it's a magical kind of place. But absolutely beautiful. It has scenery that is reminiscent to me of Norway. So Dave was talking about Norway being such a great location. I think, well, in many ways, I think New Zealand might be at least as good as Norway, if not better, but certainly a fantastic place to shoot. Just wonderful. So New Zealand, big. Hong Kong. I'm going to be in Hong Kong in September. I'm doing a workshop in China. We're starting in Hong Kong. But we're not really shooting. I've been to Hong Kong a number of times. Hong Kong is not very high on my list for photography. I'm going to try to make something better out of it, but I haven't had any luck. I would say that Hong Kong is not a particularly photogenic city.
Oh, you know what, Scott? We have on the Kelby One community, we have. I'm remembering at least one member from Hong Kong. So maybe you should contact him and get in touch and see if he can show you a different Hong Kong that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah, because the Hong Kong that I've seen has been very... I mean, there's one shot I want to go and get there. That's kind of cool. But outside of that, I haven't been really too excited about going to... I mean, I'm going to Hong Kong because you got to land someplace, and then I have to switch to Cathay Pacific to get to where I'm going in Guilin, China. But, yeah, so I'm going to take Hong Kong off my recommended lists. And just for photographically, it's a cool town. I like it. I like hanging out in Hong Kong. I'm not shooting a whole bunch in Hong Kong. And then a question for Nina's asking, are there any places in the U.S. you particularly like, mainly for landscape? Yeah, Nina, here's where I would go. Hands down, go book a hotel room in Page, Arizona. It's Page, just like a page of a book, Page, Arizona, because from there you can do what they call the Golden Triangle, which are all these great landscape locations that are nearby. You can get to Monument Valley. You can get to the Vermilion Cliffs. You can get to the Grand Canyon. You can get to all these different places. And it starts in Page, Arizona. But I will tell you this, and this is an important thing to know, Nina, about Page, Arizona. There are like 2 or 3 decent hotels in Page, Arizona. if you don't get like the Courtyard by Marriott or the new Fairfield or something, the rest of the hotels are pits. They are the worst hotels I've ever stayed in are in Page. So if you can get in the Courtyard by Marriott or one of the new like Hilton properties, and it's grown a lot. But I also would say if you're going to go there, that's where the Antelope Canyon slots are actually in Page, Arizona. The Canyon slots, if you want to go to the most famous slots, make your reservations now. Like, go book your ticket because they will be gone. And expect that when you do go, it's photographer paradise. So there's going to be a lot of photographers. You'll never be alone in Page, Arizona. If you're up at dawn, there'll be 70 other photographers. So I would say that's a really great one. If not, go to Utah to Arches National Park is another great area for photography. Close to other stuff too, but so either Arches National Park in Utah or Page, Arizona. Get a good hotel. All right. Hey, Cheeky Nando, we got some winners here. So a winner of our Platypod Ultra is John Rochester. So congratulations,
congratulations,
John. You just won a Platypod Ultra. Lisa Krause, you just won the landscape photography book. So congratulations. And Barbara Bloodsworth. Congratulations, Barbara. You won a copy of the Flash book. So congratulations to you all, and we'll be contacting you to get your shipping information wherever you are. We're happy to ship it to you. All right. Any last parting words? Cheeky Nando, who's going to be in Vegas. Any other words of wisdom?
Well, yes. Just if you haven't signed yet for Photoshop World, just do it. Stay a couple of days longer, or go sooner and photograph around Vegas. And Vegas itself should be fun. I'll be there, and I hope I can make some photographs outside Vegas too. I'll be doing a pre-con with Moose Peterson, so it should be fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it will be.
Well, and there's a lot of good shooting places near Vegas. Of course, the Grand Canyon, they do helicopter tours from Las Vegas where you get in a helicopter and they drop you in they just push you out the door. No, they land actually right out on the Grand Canyon in some great spots. So I know a lot of photographers like to do that because if you go to the visitor center at the Grand Canyon, the shots aren't great. So those helicopter tours from Las Vegas are great. There's also Valley of Fire, which is about maybe an hour at best, 45 minutes from the Vegas Strip. Very popular. There's another one. Red Rocks, yep. But also, you're not that far from Death Valley, a few hours drive, and there's a lot of places if you're willing to drive a couple of hours from Las Vegas. It's not a bad place to get, and Vegas is just a lot of fun. It's just a fun town. Well, Cheeky Nando, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All the way from beautiful Lisbon. And also, thanks for the nice lighting. You looked very nice there.
Thank you.
Very well done. All right. Thanks, Cheeky. We'll see you in Vegas, buddy.
Bye.
All right. Well, for those of you who are watching, thanks to our guest today. Thanks to Eric, the Rocket Man Kuna, who was over at the Cape, and also Dave Williams checking in from London, and Cheeky Nando, Fernando checking in from beautiful Lisbon. Well, guys, we hope that you get to some great locations here. The summer is not over yet. I know August is a big travel month for our people who are watching overseas. Over in Europe, it's a really big travel month. So I hope you get to some great locations. I do have some classes on Kelby One that might help you if you're going to Paris. I've got a class called Where to Shoot in Paris, Where to Shoot in Rome, Where to Shoot in New York. I've got different classes that basically I tell you where to shoot. I give you the GPS coordinates, the names, the prices, everything, and hopefully that'll be helpful. It was funny because I was talking to a woman at one of my seminars, and she said that she and her father were in Paris shooting, and she's a photographer, her father's not, and there's another couple shooting at this one location, and her father goes over and talks to them, and they said, yeah, we were watching this class from Scott Kelby on Where to Shoot in Paris, and they're like, that's what we're doing here. So they're watching the class and they're in the same location. I thought I was really tickled to learn that. Anyway, so I hope you'll watch those. Also, make sure you catch Dave's brand new class that you saw the trailer for earlier. He does some before you get there research and covers everything from gear and locations and all that kind of stuff. So Dave's great at that stuff. It's what he do. It's what he do. So thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks and congratulations to John and Lisa and Barbara who won stuff. Thanks again to our guests, our sponsors, our crew here in the studio, Christina, Magic Wand, Ron, and Dark Request. Hey, where's Juan's Instagram page? Where's Juan's Instagram? We can't leave without it. There it is. Boom. Look at that. Little behind-the-scenes stuff from Juan. I think it's Dave Williams over there, isn't it? Oh, there's a little behind-the-scenes from Juan right there. All right, guys, thanks very much, and we'll catch you guys next week. Well, if I'm here. If not, you'll catch Eric next week on The Grid. Take care, everybody.